Hello everyone, I'm SuperDazza.
And I'm Purley.
And welcome to the SMITE Community Podcast, the podcast where we focus on the SMITE community from the past 3 weeks this week, instead of 2 weeks, whilst Purley knows absolutely nothing about it. Yeah, we took a week off because of the season reveals at the start of this week for Season 6. And, I mean, to be honest, there is still more stuff to come for season reveals. On Tuesday, they're doing another show. So we heard about the Tuesday show, and I don't think we wanted to delay it anymore. So this will kind of be speculations about Tuesdays as well. But this is probably going to be one of the longest podcasts we've done, if not the longest. Now, when I say Purley knows absolutely nothing about it, Purley, how much exactly do you know about this?
Like context. So hold on. Can we? I'm sorry. I don't sound.
It's fine.
Right.
Yeah, no, you never do. Hello.
How dare you? Yeah. So I haven't watched any of the releases at all. I haven't watched any of the patch notes because I still have exams. So I haven't really been doing that. And also, I've been at home for a month and had kind of bad internet for a month before that. So I haven't even played Smite in 2 months. I don't even know why I'm here.
I mean, I think this is kind of the point of the podcast, is you don't know anything. So it's fine. But there is a lot. So I'm just going to get started straight away with so obviously we have different sections of the podcast. First section is patch notes. Second section is official. We're merging those into one for this one. Because the patch notes that we got for season 6 is very much intertwined with the official stuff that we've heard. And then we'll move on to a couple of stuff from one thing from the community. We're not going to keep that going on for too long, because patch notes / official is taking up size 10 Calibri font, 3.5 pages on Word.
Ooh. Ow.
Yeah, and then we have a suggestion in our suggestion section, and then an end section that's quite short. It's a new end section, very specific to this podcast as well. That was my tummy rumble. Okay, so first things first. There's a lot of things to talk about. So if there's only certain things that interest you, as always, we will keep timestamps in the description. Usually I don't put timestamps for the patch notes stuff, I just put patch notes as a timestamp, but for this there's going to be patch notes. There's going to be timestamps for each individual thing we speak about. And also bear in mind that there is a 5.25 coming out as an update. I'm not entirely sure how they're doing it. I don't think they know how they're doing it, really. They haven't really released patch notes for that. They've just released patch notes for 6.1. So anything that you hear from us is either going to be in 5.25 or 6.1. Either way.
So they have announced stuff for 5.25?
They have announced there is going to be a 5.25. And I think the only skin that they've announced, I feel like they said that it's going to be in 5.25.
Might just be getting everyone ready for patch 6.
5.25 I think has got some cross-platform stuff in it. It's got some, I don't know, something to do with that. But yeah,
just kind of prepping the code and stuff for season 6
probably. So let's get right into it. There was also, I actually tweeted this. In the middle of December, Ajax and Isaiah did a dev stream where they spoke about a lot of stuff, and that was, I think, they did that the day after we uploaded the podcast. So 2 weeks later, I completely forgot to put that on the agenda, and there was a lot of stuff in that. So instead of just dismissing that completely because there was some pretty interesting stuff in there, I'm adding it on top of this stuff. And I don't know, like after I say
That's
something.
fine. We didn't have a lot else to talk about. So.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. I've included it, but to the end of some of the content that we're just talking about here, and I'll let you know what's from December and blah blah blah. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, exactly. We don't have much to talk about here at all.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get into it. First of all,
I'm excited. I'm really actually quite nervous because I haven't heard the season 6 patch notes yet.
Yeah.
And I know that they're they could make or break like they're gonna hopefully change a lot. And I want to see if it's a bad change or a good change. I'm excited.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't remember what I was going to say. Let's get into it. That's what I was going to say. Let's not talk about individual things too much. We do have 3.5 pages to get through. Yeah, we're going to be here a while. Let's talk about cross-platform / cross-play / cross-progression as well. So
I'm just going to sit here and go woo for the whole podcast.
Yeah, it's been revealed that obviously cross-play is coming. Cross-play will be on by default in normal modes. A new option has been added to the settings menu where players can restrict their cross-play. And ranked game modes will continue to be platform only, except the combination of Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. Players may now add friends from other platforms to their friend list, invite them to parties, and invite them to clans. Perfect. Cross-progression, players will now be able to enjoy all their content and progress on all platforms. You can link your SMITE accounts, all unlocked gods and skins that any merged account has unlocked will be available on all platforms. All earned currency from all merged accounts will be added together, as well as worshippers. And XP, I think, as well for leveling. We will release more updates, blah, 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 blah. HiRezStudios.com/crossplay for any more things. Sweet.
Why are they merging Xbox and Switch? That seems like a random weird two to just put together.
I think it might just be because of console. Like, obviously, keyboard and mouse. Well, first of all, remember PS4 isn't crossplay compatible. Because of Sony and
Yeah. Okay.
Xbox. Some additional things. Xbox, for example, has a setting for Xbox only or controller only, so they can do either Xbox or Xbox and Nintendo Switch. They can decide.
Okay.
Anything that can be added together, so currencies, worshippers, XP, will be added. And yeah, so
awesome.
That's cross.
That's all really good.
That's really good. Yeah,
they've done all this seamlessly and perfectly, as far as I can tell.
Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see when it comes.
Okay, so far it seems like it's all going.
Yeah.
Like I remember in the first podcast where this was like speculation and kind of being thrown in the air. The first sound that I made was, can they make that work though? And they have.
Yeah, seems like it.
So,
and they're being really good with it. Yeah. Moving on swiftly. Roll queue.
Switchly. That wasn't funny. Sorry, carry on.
That was hilarious. Roll queue. Normal Conquest and Rank Conquest will now have roll queue. Before queuing for the mode, you'll need to select your top 2 roles. After the match is made, so it's not going to worry about matchmaking or anything. The matchmaker will look at role preferences and assign roles to achieve the situation where as many people get their preferred roles as possible. If there are any tie scenarios, the player with the higher MMR in ranked or the player who has not gotten their preferred role recently will get priority.
Interesting. That's all very cool.
Each match you do not get a preferred role will increase your chances of getting it next match. Yeah, pretty cool. There's also talks in December about maybe they'll make an award bonus for underplayed roles, like extra TP or something. But so you'll be laughing.
Yeah. I mean, support gets under TP'd anyway, so I don't think TP'd is a good way of saying the verb of that.
TP? What you mean, rank TP?
Yeah.
How do they get under TP?
Because TP factors in kills and that sort of thing.
Does it? Does it?
Yeah. There
sure
was
about
like.
Because I don't know.
I know it used to, because there used to be stories of people like you would get ADC support duos that would queue together every game, and the support would get placed like a few ranks, or maybe even a whole division. Wait, which one's rank? Is division? Like gold to silver sort of thing.
Yeah.
Support would get placed below the ADC.
Right.
And TP also touches that in. I've forgotten the original point that you made, but I'm sure it was very interesting.
It was incredibly interesting. That's why you remember it. Next, the next ranked changes in general. So in December.
Oh yeah. It was the roll queue. Good.
It was the roll
I like it. We'll move on.
Yeah. And I'm glad they're not changing matchmaking for it. Because that could have been a problem.
That was the main concern, because the issue was that, like, League does it, but everyone was always saying Smite hasn't got the player base to sacrifice matchmaking for it. But I like they aren't. They're just making it a little underlying thing, which is cool.
Yes. So ranked in general now. So there was talks before about changing matchmaking to get rid of qualifiers, and everyone starts in bronze, and everyone has to climb up, right? This has now been delayed. It's now starting in update 6.5. So in 6.5, players will no longer play qualifying games, but will start in bronze. They will show MMR in the UI, and MMR-based leaderboards. MMR you will only be able to see your ranked MMR. Only with an exterior tool you can see other people's MMR, unless your profile is hidden. Now, ranked for 6.1, it will get a soft reset, so everyone has to do the qualifiers again, but it's not a hard reset. So TP gained has been increased overall, allowing players to progress through ranks at a more rapid pace to match the reduced split length. The split lengths are now 2 months. So we'll be getting a lot more splits during the year. And yeah, so that's the same as like Overwatch right now. TP. The first ranked split will end on the first day of patch 6.5. Rewards will no longer be given out based on rank or God leaderboard ranks. There'll be no more God leaderboards, or at least there won't be any rewards for God leaderboards. Players can still earn their skin and loading frame by winning 75 games, 150 games respectively throughout all of Season 6, throughout the whole year. And each split, players will now earn a winner's chest for winning 15 games in ranked, and earn, get this, 50 gems for winning 75 games in 2 months. That's more than a game a day.
Yeah, and 50 gems is what you get for just signing in.
Yeah,
in a week.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I get it.
It's cool there's a gem reward there.
Yeah.
But
I think it's the fact that they don't want to make it too high, so that people try and grind for it and get frustrated at the grind, but also not low, so that people that get there
so it's still
rewarded.
Yeah.
So that's rank changes. I like this. To be honest, I always liked reducing the splits. I don't know whether 2 months is too little.
Yeah, and I don't know. I said this the first time we covered this. I'm just generally skeptical of this system. I think it could work. I don't know if it can work better than the current one. I don't know if you're going to stop coughing. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
It's just very uncertain, and if they get it wrong, then it will be catastrophic. is my concern.
But yeah, they can also they can always just change it back, I guess. I don't know. I feel like what is it now? What splits now? Like what, 4 months, 3 or 4 months? So roughly halving that. It's I don't know. We'll see. But
I think
I think it'll be fine. Because I've always I never liked the year long thing, because it's always like I don't know, like if you like mess up, you get a very long loss streak or whatever, and you like I do a lot, and you're not happy with the division and stuff. It's good to get that kind of reset every so often. From my point of view, anyway, I might be different from like a pro's point of view or someone higher up, but someone that's in like high gold. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about. Oh God, we're going to talk about that now. Okay, let's talk about that now.
That doesn't reassure me.
Also, quick thing, this Season 5 team badges from SPL, this system is removed from the game in Season 6, and all items that you have got from this system will be selectable in your personal loadout sections. Cool, that's done.
Cool.
Conquest Changes.
Oh boy.
Right. Hold on, let's find these. Okay. Let's just go through it. Kill bounty adjustments. Increase the gold and experience adjustments for players killing a player that is a different level. Alright. New formulas only apply to players killing a higher level target, so nothing for killing lower level targets. That's staying the same. I'm not going to go through the formulas. If you want to look at the formulas, look at the patch notes. But
they've given the formulas.
They have given the formulas, and
okay, that's nice. That's nice of them.
Yeah. Note the adjustment to the victim spree multipliers is increased in all cases, not just if the victim was higher in level. So giving more of a reward for killing higher level players in general. That's the TLDR.
That's good.
Yep. New objective. So they spoke about a new objective being next to solo lane to give them to give the solo laners more, influence the game a little bit more, influence the team a little bit more. New objective: Totem of Coup. This is like a Polynesian mask-looking thing that's it's behind the FG camp. So it's on that wall. And also the solo lane wall, instead of having 4 entrances to it, there's now 3. So there's one on the other side and one in the middle. And if you go to the middle one, you'll see the Totem of Coup there. So this objective is a neutral structure, not a boss monster. So it does not attack. Base health of 300. Base physical protections 15, base magic protections 10. Health increases by 250 each time it is successfully taken. It spawns at 1 minute. It spawns at 1 minute and respawns a minute after it is successfully taken, up to 15 minutes. So after 15 minutes, it doesn't spawn anymore. Once active, so once it's spawned, the first team that deals enough damage to the totem will have all of their tower areas empowered. Allied gods that step into the empowered area receive a buff. So there is 2 kind of gauges, 2 levels on this thing, and you have to do the most damage. I think abilities do apply. I think, and you have to do the most damage to this totem. So you could be both at the same level. Like, you could be both at the same damage level on this thing, but it's whoever gets the most. It's whoever destroys it, aka gets to the base health of 300, for example, at the start, gets the buff for the team. This buff that's in the allied towers is a 5% movement speed buff, a 25% 25 MP5. And you also get plus 25 gold to each team member when it is taken. Buff lasts
25 gold.
Yes, each player in your team gets 25 gold when you take it. Remember, that's you could technically get that 15 times in the game. Probably technically not, unless you're using like hacks. But 14 is probably the best you can get. Buff lasts for 10 seconds when leaving the tower, and the empowered tower area lasts for a minute. So after that minute, that's when the new totem spawns, and yeah, that's the Totem of Ku. That's the new objective. I really like this.
I'm not sure it does enough. I like the idea, but MP5, sliver of movement speed, and 25 gold.
Bear in mind, I think the 25 gold. I think 25
lot.
gold is the biggest point here. I think. Remember, that's 125 gold essentially. Every time you take it, and if we do 125 times, say 13 is roughly. Well, that's 1,625 for your team. Maybe not as impactful as it could be. I mean, they've always got the.
I think Gold
dials.
Fury gives 1,500 though.
We'll speak about Gold Fury in a second.
Okay, never mind then.
No. I think you're still right. I don't think that's changed. Yes, it's also a lot easier to take, and it's up a lot more. And I like a lot about it. My first thing was complaints, but I do like a lot about it. Yeah.
I like the separate health pools for each team. That's cool. So you're not really like
last hit.
Yeah, you aren't sitting there like, if I hit it, he'll hit it, and then he'll get the...
Yeah.
Like, there's no stealing it. It's just kill the thing quickly.
Yeah. Yeah,
could it increase tower range? I think it'd be really interesting if it gave, like...
Although that might be a detriment, because then minions go under tower quicker.
Yeah, but you can get closer to them and be safe.
I mean... I guess.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool if it, like, increased your tower range by 2 units and decreased theirs by 2 units.
I think that
for 20 seconds.
Be a lot of problematic coding might go on there, but yeah, it's possible. And again, they've got they've got these dials to work with, right? They've got numbers that they can just adjust. So I guess they'll see. I'm glad that it's maybe a bit underpowered rather than overpowered.
That's true. Yeah, I like the system, and the dials can be adjusted to make it useful.
Gold Fury Changes now has 2 additional forms.
What?
We have the Oni Gold Fury, which is like a Japanese themed Gold Fury, and a Primal Gold Fury, which is a Mayan themed Gold Fury. The first spawn of Gold Fury will always be Gold Fury. Okay, so Gold Fury.
Which Gold Fury?
So the same Gold Fury as we know and love.
Okay, so there's 3 Gold Furies.
There are 3, yes. So 2 additional forms. Yes, we're not getting rid of the old form. Each spawn from then on will be randomly chosen from the 3 Furies, avoiding repeats. So it can't be the one that just happened. So each spawn will randomly choose between the other 2 Furies. Oni Fury provides the following rewards. On the next round of minions spawned, all minions in all 3 lanes will gain bonus damage increased by 150%. Bonus health increased by 50%. Physical protection increased by 50, and magical protection increased by 60. So it's just a big buff to your minions in all 3 lanes for 1 spawn of minions.
Okay.
Primal Fury provided the following rewards. All gods on the killing team gain 5% increased damage to jungle camps and bosses permanently. And this stacks up to 3 times. So if you get 3 of these, you gain 15% increased damage to jungle camps and bosses, which will help with, for example, Fire Giant fights.
I like that. There aren't a lot of permanent buffs in the game. Really?
No.
So that's very interesting.
These Furies provide decreased gold rewards, but also give unique bonuses to the team who slays them. Obviously, decrease the base gold reward from 150 to 115. Decreased gold increase per minute from 6 to 5. I think this is for. Yeah, I think this is for the 2 other Furies. I think, and their XP reward is consistent with the Gold Fury. So Gold Fury normal Gold Fury hasn't been touched.
But there's 2 stronger forms that give more rewards.
There are 2 other forms that give different rewards. Yes.
Oh, so they aren't stronger. They just give different.
It depends how you look at it. I guess it depends what's going on in the game, really.
I mean, in terms of stats.
I mean, they've got different stats, so you can't really judge them by that. I mean, but in terms of gold, they're less than Gold Fury, but...
I mean, like, defense, offense, like, how hard they are to kill. Is that the same?
Oh, right. Oh, I see. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they are just... They provide different rewards.
Yep.
Instead of being any harder to kill.
Yep.
I like that because I initially thought it was you kill the Gold Fury, it comes back as a different, stronger Gold Fury.
No.
Which might have been cool.
Maybe, yeah.
But this is cool.
Yeah, I think it needed something to spice it up a little bit. And also...
I don't know whether it's... Sorry.
It also gives reason to go to Gold Fury later on as well.
I don't know if it's like... Because we've got to kind of... They're adding a lot of features to the game, obviously. And there are features which will actually improve gameplay and are worth the extra... kind of... the extra stuff. And there's stuff that's just stuff. There's just kind of fluff, which is just going to make the game more complicated.
Sure.
Because the whole point is trying to make the game not overly complicated. No one likes an overly complicated game except Dota players. But also, so when you add complicated stuff, it needs to make the game more fun, and it needs to be worth the extra...
I think it's done this.
Investment? Yeah.
I think it's done that. I like this. I'm a huge fan of HiRez. Okay, I'm a quite big fan of HiRez the Storm. I don't play it very much, but I like how there is just so much what feels like experimental stuff for a MOBA. Just extra stuff, making things like each map in HiRez the Storm has like something unique about it, like something unique about the objectives, and I like anything that just spices up the game, doesn't just give a flat gold and XP thing. Like, you know, I like this. To be honest, I'd be happy if they brought in like 5 more of them. I love it.
Yeah, I disagree. I'm just thinking in terms of like people have to learn the game. And it's just like, Gold Fury, oh yeah, there's 5 Gold Furies. Sit down, I've prepared a short presentation.
Oh, sure, yeah. Doesn't League have something similar with one of their bosses changes or something to give different rewards?
I don't know. League bosses behave very differently. There's like 50 of them.
Sweet. But yeah, those are the Gold Fury changes. Moving swiftly on, we've like spent half an hour on this already. We've gone maybe a third of a page, right? Fire Giant.
Okay.
Yeah. Fire Giant and Enhanced Fire Giant, which is the one that spawns after, is it 35 minutes?
I didn't know that was a thing. Okay.
We'll now use the Magma Pools ability that they used to have So remember those little circles on the ground?
I didn't know that was removed.
They spawn below every player. Yeah. So they were removed for the new Conquest map, and they've been put back in.
Okay.
So there will be a 1 second warning deployable under each god in the area, and after the warning, the area will become damaging magma. If you care about the current rotation, you can see that on the patch notes, the current rotation of attacks that he does, and the new rotation. Enhanced Fire Giant base health increased from 6,000 to 7,000, so it's harder to take Enhanced Fire Giant. The enhanced FG base protections increased from 90 physical, 50 magical to 120 physical, 75 magical. I think I'm getting those right around. An enhanced Fire Giant base power increased from 130 physical, 0 magical, to 150 physical, 20 magical. So now it does a little bit of magical damage.
First of all, actually,
yeah.
That makes Fire Giant the only other thing on the map to deal magical damage besides mana buff, which is quite cool. Mm-hmm. And makes sense. I feel, wasn't the Fire Giant strong enough already? Like it was already like they need to be basically dead, and we need to be all 5 of us here to do this.
I feel like no, I feel like you get the very like I don't know, like you get that. Okay, we could just sneak FG. And it felt weird sneaking FG. Like oh wait, hold on, we could just sneak FG. They don't know about this. We just sneak it. It feels weird. You should feel like you have to like just basically get a wipe in order to do FG. I feel like
they haven't increased the buff. I don't need to.
Of the what? The buff of the FG? No.
Yeah. I also think I didn't realise enhanced FG existed. That seems weird to me that they would have 2 separate, distinct sets of stats instead of making the stats scale throughout the game.
I think
because that means that at 35 minutes, FG is really weak, and at 34 minutes it's weak, and at 35 minutes it's very, very strong.
I think the idea of it is that 35 minutes is when they want essentially the game to end, and FG gives enhanced FG gives such a big buff to pushing that can happen, right? That you can end quicker.
Sure, but if you make it scale up to that point, still keep 35 minute FG having the same stats as enhanced FG, but just have it scale in between, and then keep going beyond that. Maybe tail off beyond that.
Sure.
It just feels weird that it's like 34 minutes FG is gives much less buffs and is just much weaker and quite easy to kill. 35 minutes, oh no, it's a really big FG.
They probably spoke about it during like the season 5 changes or whatever. Probably spoke about the 35 minute thing. If I cared,
anyway, we can't afford to spend time on things.
Cared, yeah,
carry on going.
Jungle changes in Conquest. Small harpies, decreased base health, increased health per level, and increased base magical protections. I'm not going to go through the numbers. Large harpies, same deal. Buff holders, same deal. Buff minis, same deal. Oracles, increased base magical protection. So not all of these things never used to have magical protection. They now have 5 magical protection each. All those things are just listed.
Okay.
Here we go. Gold Fury, all 3 forms. Okay. So there's nothing to do with the rewards here, but Gold Fury, all 3 forms. Increased Gold Fury physical protection. Decreased Gold Fury health per level. Decreased Gold Fury physical power, and decreased Gold Fury physical power per level. Sorry, increased Gold Fury physical power per level from 0 to 2. So it gets tougher.
Right. Okay. So they're decreasing scaling of the protections and increasing scaling of the damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's interesting.
and also towers and phoenixes now have a visual effect on them if backdoor protections are currently active on the structure. There's like a little blue globe below them.
That's very cool. That's really useful.
This is apparently. Hold on. I'll also say that it's not on these notes actually, but they did mention that towers and phoenixes backdoor protection used to be when minions left after like a few seconds or whatever. Base protection, backdoor protections would still be active. So if the last minion died after a few seconds, its backdoor protections would still, you'd still do the damage that you'd do with backdoor protections removed. After a few seconds, they'd go. Now, as long as someone is hitting it, they stay.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
it's
cool.
a similar thing to, I don't know, in my head, it's a similar thing to how you can still hit Titan even if all three phoenixes spawn whilst you're hitting it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I like that.
Sweet.
Because backdoor protections always seemed very unintuitive, and you have to be told they exist to know they exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the few things in Smite where there's actually no indication in game that you're dealing half the damage you should be dealing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that they finally acknowledged that it exists.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to balance. The big one. Although, well, I thought would be the big one. There's something that they've said. They wanted to... Because Wednesday, by the way, so they had 3 shows. Wednesday was the Q&A show. So a lot of this stuff came from the Q&As. Which is also kind of community, which is why the community is... the community side of things, this podcast is going to be less. I guess that comes from community. That's how I'm getting around it. Instead of adding new items, they've decided to target unpopular ones. So they're not just going to add a bunch of new items for the season start. Which I like.
Yeah.
Let's go quickly through this. I'm not going to go through many numbers unless it's necessary, and I'm only going to go through the big ones in depth. Attacker's Blessing, which so the 3 blessings that you can't get in Conquest. Attacker's Blessing, nerf, and Defenders and Specialist Blessings buffs. We're keeping going. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff at all. Horrific Emblem has a nerf, decreased attack speed slow. Here we go. Here's a new item. It's a consumable elixir of speed. Oh my god, I said elixir and
What?
I said elixir.
Were you not meant to? What's it called?
No, Alexa thinks I'm talking to her.
Oh.
Oh, that's going to be annoying.
Just call it an
at least it's
a drink.
At least it's not called elixir. Play Despacito. Right. Elixir of speed.
If it had played then, I would have laughed so much. Okay.
So, Elixir of Speed is... instead of the other elixirs, they're 2,000... It's 2,000 gold instead of 3,000 gold. This consumable increases your movement speed by 18% permanently. This effect does not stack with movement speed from boots or shoes.
Oh.
Wait, this effect lasts X minutes, apparently, so it's not permanent. I think by permanent that means through death. This item is only available in Conquest game modes. And this is essentially, what it's doing is it's opening up a new item slot. So the idea of this is you can sell boots late game and get another item. Which I really
boots are
really
good, though.
like.
Anyway.
Sorry?
boots are good value anyway.
When it comes to late game, you don't want value. You want
in the late
stats.
game.
Yeah, when it comes to late game, it's a
That
very
is
late game thing.
very cool. My brain is flying. I'm trying to think. So it is temporary, but it lasts through death.
Lasts through death, yeah. It does say this effect lasts X minutes. I guess they haven't decided that yet.
Okay.
But yeah. So 18%, which is the movement speed of most boots.
So I'm just wondering when, because if you run out of gold because you've bought too many elixirs, and it's kind of like it not only does it mean you can sell boots, it also means you need to keep the gold coming in the late game, which is I think I like that.
To be honest, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it only lasted X minutes. I thought it was completely permanent until I read this.
I like that as a kind of like, so you can sell boots and get another item, but to do that, you need to be constantly farming and keep 2,000 gold coming in every X minutes.
Well, exactly. I mean, in December, they had
nice.
In December they discussed the possibility of adding a 7th slot. Right, so someone asked about 7th slot, and they just said they can't really do that, mainly because of UI mainly because just UI changes, which is fair enough. But this gets around that.
No, I like this a lot. That's a really cool.
Yep.
Innovative change, I would say, which isn't a word that I use for HiRez often, but that is quite clever. I like that.
Cool. Moving on. Doom Orb is now no longer a tier 2. It's a tier 3. And there is a tier 2 version of it, Cursed Orb. They did toy around with the idea of Doom Orb and Doomer Orb. Hindu man wanted Doomist Orb.
Just a whole tree of Doom Orb, Doomer Orb, Doomist Orb.
So this new Cursed Orb, this tier 2 item, that levels into Doom Orb, 55 magical power, 75 mana, 20 MP5, plus 3%. 15 MP5. Plus 3% movement speed. Killing or assisting an enemy minion provides you with 1 stack, granting 1% movement speed and 3 magical power per stack. Stacks last for 10 seconds, stack up to 5 times. Enemy gods provide 5 stacks. Doom Orb, this new tier 3 item, costs 3,200 gold. That's an expensive boy. 135 magical power. 135 magical power. 200 mana, 25 MP5, 6% movement speed. Passive, killing or assisting an enemy minion provides you with 1 stack, granting 1% movement speed and 6 magical power per stack. Stacks last for 15 seconds and stack up to 5 times. Enemy gods provide 5 stacks. There you go. There's your Doom Orb.
So first of all, are there many other stacking tier 2 items?
True. Not off the top of my head.
But second of all, so Doom Orb's being buffed and it's more expensive.
Yes.
Okay.
Essentially.
Sure.
But I think it's also
we'll see how it goes.
Changed. That's a different. Yeah, like the I don't know. I want to get my facts right here. Let's look at old Doom Orb. God, I haven't bought this item in a long time. So it's similar. The passive is still similar.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Book of Thoth has been removed from the game. No, well, pretty much. Decreased the cost. Passive now only converts mana gained from items. Increased amount of mana converted to magical power from 3% to 6%. Increased bonus mana conversion when evolved from 2% to 3%. So this is a very much if you want to build like to for this item to be effective, you really need to buy a mana build, which I kind of like. It's not a auto pick necessarily for a lot of gods now. It's a case of, okay, if I'm gonna buy this, I need to build like this, and I like that. I think
It's more...
Whether it'll be used, but I don't know. But...
Yeah, it's more intertwined with the build than it is with how much mana you naturally have.
Mm-hmm.
Although it would still be very good on Kook, I think, because Kook needs to build mana anyway. Just builds a bit more mana and buys Book of Thoth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very much good for Kook, and it's good for any god as long as you're building mana, I guess. But do you want to sacrifice mana for? And do you want to sacrifice other stats for mana? Maybe not. Malice has a new passive. Successfully hitting an enemy with a critical strike will subtract 2 seconds from all of your abilities currently on cooldown, except your ultimate. This effect can only happen once every 5 seconds.
2 seconds?
2 second cooldown, and it can only happen once every 5 seconds, yeah.
That's quite a lot.
It is, and they took a while saying that this effect can only happen once every 5 seconds, which got everyone very worried.
Yes, but if you... Oh my god, I think that's through. If you build your crits up, so say you crit every 5 seconds, so every 5 seconds you get 2 seconds off your cooldowns. That's 40% CDR.
Roughly...
In an item.
Roughly 10 second... Say 10 second cooldown roughly on abilities, you get 4 seconds subtracted from that, yeah.
It's 40% CDR on top of the 40% CDR cap.
That is also if you're in combat, remember, as well, and... But no, I agree, this is strong. If you are using your abilities a lot.
True, it does... Yeah, it walks the line if you need to be crit-based and ability-based.
Yes, exactly.
But at the same time, it just gives a general...
At the same time, when you are crit-based and ability-based, it's a very good item, yeah. Okay, moving on. Silver Branch Bow's got a buff. No one built it, so they buffed it. Buffed physical power from it. I'm going through these, I don't know, this... I'm not going through the little things. Blackthorn, if you're interested, go to the patch notes. But Blackthorn Hammer, this passive now transitions from cooldown reduction to mana regeneration at 25% mana, not 50% mana. So you get CDR for 70 if you're above 25% mana, and mana regeneration at 25% mana. Moving on. Gauntlet of Thebes buff. Stone of Gaia. Increase the speed at which the heal occurs on the passive from being knocked up, whatever, from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. And decreased internal cooldown from 60 seconds to 45 seconds. So that's got a buff. The masks have been adjusted as well. Look at patch notes for those if you're interested. God balance. That's all the item balance. Not anything to write. Okay. There's a lot to write home about, but there's a lot.
Masks.
Yes.
Are they getting mechanically changed, or is it just a stats shuffle?
Rangdar's mask.
Rangdar's mask.
Rangdar's mask. The ability damage is being increased to be the same as the basic attack damage. So now instead of saying basic attack damage and ability damage, it just says increased damage dealt. But other than that, no, that's not
okay. Really fair enough.
Still just normal. God balance.
Woo!
The warrior class.
Oh God.
Increased base. What?
Sorry, I was expecting this god's got that. This god's got no, the whole warrior class. That's got me worried.
Increased base HP of all warriors by 10. Increased base HP per level of all warriors by 3.
So just buffing all warriors.
Yep. Every single warrior. Which is needed because they didn't see any play in solo lane, really. It was being dominated by Guardians and stuff.
But that's going to push Nike and Kukullan, and that's going to push warriors back into the meta in a big way. in an annoying way.
Also, the Totem of Ku, I think, is going to as well. The fact that you need that damage on Totem of Ku.
Yeah, you can't be a passive solo laner anymore. So it's going to nerf Loki a bit as well.
Yeah.
Probably.
What, in terms of solo lane?
Yeah.
It's going to nerf a lot of people in the solo lane, yeah, definitely.
You need to be an aggressive which is good. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to be, but you'll be sacrificing a lot.
Yeah. Right.
Although... no, never mind. I was going to think about how in public matches, if you get a bad solo laner, then it's a bad game, which is a lot to put on the solo laner. But then again, we shouldn't judge balance based on being given a bad lane partner or whatever. Carry on.
I'll carry on. So Alcong, his passive right now is each time Alcong successfully uses his execute, he gains a stack of magical power and lifesteal, and it stacks up to 3 times. Stacks are permanent. His passive now is every 20 seconds Alcong gets a stack of his passive. As long as he has a stack, his next non-ultimate ability that deals damage to an enemy god will consume a stack to have its cooldown reduced by 2 seconds, and it also heals Alcong for 5% of his maximum health. Successfully executing an enemy god with his ult fully charges the thing, and this effect can stack up to 3 times still. So keeping the heal there from the original lifesteal passive, and yeah.
Is this the 3rd time Alcong's passive has been completely reworked? Okay.
Probably. Because it used to be the whole like when the sword went into the sheath, you started gaining stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like passives that are timer based because it just feels like it feels weird. It's not rewarding any good play. It's not punishing any bad play. It's not. It's just there.
I kind of agree with you, but also I like that they've added to the ultimate where it stacks it completely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which gives a reward in that case. But yeah, it almost like stops you from fighting until that stack is up, almost. Not necessarily, but that's the idea with it. Yeah.
It's weird. I preferred the feeling. They changed it for a reason. Obviously, the last one wasn't very good, or it was too good. But the last one it felt more like it was it rewarded kills. It rewarded well-timed kills. It rewarded KSing a bit, but there was it was linked with playing the game. Maybe they could do what they did with Xbalanque and make it a damage you do based thing. I don't know.
You know what?
It just
also
felt.
This comes into the discussion with passives. Alcong's passive before was linked to his ultimate and nothing else. That could have been put on his ultimate.
No, it gave a permanent buff to him.
Yeah, abilities can give permanent buffs. It was just.
I think at the point where it's permanent buff, it can be a passive.
I mean, Odin's passive got changed for this exact same reason. It was a permanent buff, just on his ult, and they put it on his ult instead.
Yeah, that's an interesting discussion, but it's not one that we really have time for right now.
True. Bacchus. Bacchus. You
Bacchus.
You're a fan of Bacchus, right?
Yeah, I like Bacchus. He's fun.
Chug is now available at level 1 and has a rank 0. So it's like a...
So you don't need to level Chug anymore.
That's not cool. Need to level it.
Because, like, it's always been... You don't want to level Chug. Like, it's always been... Chug's actually a detriment to level because of the mana cost that it incurs. Mm-hmm. So you're avoiding leveling it for as long as you can.
Rank 0 Chug. Rank 0 Chug does not provide any protections. Rank 0 Chug costs 35 mana. And instead of Chug providing 33, 35, 37, 39, 41% of Drunken Meter, which is awful numbers, it's now 40% Drunken Meter at all ranks. Which means when you are level 1 and you've leveled your 3, for example, you do have a stun at level 3. And yeah, it's good.
So what does scale as you level it? Do the protection scale?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
cool. I like that.
Rank 0 does not have protections.
That's a good change. It's always felt weird Bacchus's one and how it interacts and how you don't want to level it. So I'm glad. That's a good change.
Mm-hmm. Looking here now, Cabrakan ult expanded the hit area of this ability to damage all gods in the entire rectangle shape in front of Cabrakan. This area is as wide as his walls area is now. No, it did not. Extending from Cabrakan up to the range walls. So, yes, it's got a 35 unit range and a 25 unit width.
That seems more like a bug fix than a balance change.
Yeah, it does. Completely. Camazot's Vampire Bats increased the buff duration from 210 seconds to 300 seconds. Let me just remind myself what it does. If the target was a large jungle monster, they will be marked, and he'll get a vampirism buff that lasts 210 seconds. The buff will give him physical lifesteal and increased healing. There you go. So the buff duration is now 300 seconds instead of 210 seconds, and now persists through death.
Cool. I like they're doing a lot of persist through death stuff, which I like.
I like that. It makes it less frustrating, I guess.
Yeah.
Buffed Kurnanos, Hera. Argus is cooldown is 70 seconds to 90 seconds, because obviously you have inbuilt things to decrease that cooldown as well. Hercules' ult is getting reduced cooldown over time. Isis's ult, Isis 3 and ult can now be cast further away from her.
Cool.
King Arthur. I'm going to just list some stuff here. Basic attacks have had a large pass to improve functionality and remove jitter players with experience, especially on higher ping environments. Fix an issue where King Arthur could be silenced permanently from Ganesh's Ohm. Fix an issue where King Arthur could crash players with his ultimate. Fix an issue where King Arthur could speed up players.
There's someone out there. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's someone out there that's mastered the crash on his ult. That just walks around just crashing the enemy teams one by one.
This is my favourite, and I managed to catch this on recording actually. And I'm annoyed that they removed this from the game. But fix an issue where King Arthur could speed up players' animations with his ultimate. So you would see just people just walking at the same pace, but like just their legs are just going.
Oh, I'm so glad you have that on recording.
Yeah. Fix an issue where basic attacks could proc item effects they were unintended to. Fix an issue where Excalibur's Fury could, which is ult, is lower ult, I think, could stun targets behind King Arthur. For updated the camera on Excalibur's Fury, his ult, to provide better vision while airborne, and updated the camera on his ult for enemies to be less jarring, and then some other random changes. Loki decreased damage progression from on his basic attacks to 1.5 times damage to 0.75 1.5 times damage. So it's just that first thing getting a nerf, and his Vanish removed the damage mitigation from this ability. Makes it a lot less frustrating playing against him, and gives him less of a way out. Yes.
That's fair enough.
Pele, her passive was extremely strong. Her lifesteal passive So what used to be when Purley drops below 50% health, her flame is set alight and she gains increased physical power, lifesteal, and ability lifesteal. This passive has a 30-second cooldown. That duration has been decreased from 6 to 4, so she can only lifesteal for 4 seconds after she gets below 50% health, and decreased the power that she gets from 2 per level to 1. Moving on. Poseidon's,
very cool.
Poseidon's physical protection has been per level has been increased to better match other mages, because apparently he was not. Thoth, his 1 has increased damage, and his 2, his dash, so the second part of the 2 where he throws sword is stun. It no longer stuns, but it pierces through enemies and roots the first god hit and slows every other enemy hit.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's cool.
And his ult has increased 20% scaling. And Zeus has had some damage numbers changed. And a lot of other things that I missed out as well. If anyone's interested, you can look at patch notes and stuff. But yeah,
that's all really cool. They keep making good changes, and it's all good. Because they used to every single god and item in the game would oscillate from being buffed through the ceiling, nerfed to the floor, buffed through ceiling, nerfed to the floor, and it would never stay in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But they're stabilising now, and all these changes seem good. Did you like the metaphor?
Oh, that was a very good metaphor, actually. Yeah. Congratulations. A few things that they want to say in December about balance, kind of moving forward and stuff. They want balance to be intentional and measured. No frizzlers. They don't want to make any. They don't want to make any They don't want to make any frivolous changes, and not as many.
We'll cut that
out. They want a need to know basis for balance. So essentially, if they need to be balanced, they'll balance, make frivolous changes or whatever. I think they they've done good balance this year. They've decided to look at play count and ban rate more than win rate this year. Because of perception issues. There's no point trying to show players the numbers from win rate, because it's not a good way to interact with players because of perception of the character. For example, Nike is a high win rate but not perceived highly. Common thing to do is shift gods when they're like this, but there's more on Nike later that they've discussed about.
Also, when a god has a high win rate but a low pick rate, it means that the people that are picking those gods probably only play those gods and specialise in those gods, because it's just a few people that really enjoy Nike, that are really good at Nike, that can win games with Nike.
Yeah,
that's probably what you see if it's a low pick rate and a high win rate.
Yeah, exactly. Some Project Olympus stuff that they want to get done in Season 6. They want to look at recommended items. Thank God. They're looking at streamer mode to make stream sniping less of an issue. They want to make news screens with update notes in the client. So having to go to another website.
Why isn't that a thing yet?
Although, you see, this is what I've heard, but also, what other game does it? There's no other. From what I know, from what I've played and stuff, there's no other game that does it.
Okay, now list games that you've played that have updates every 2 weeks.
They want to also update the clans.
Yeah.
They want to also update the clans and want to make an update to the item builder. Hopefully, multiple of them, which a lot of people have been asking for a very long time.
Yeah.
We've gone half a page. Let's move on. A lot of this stuff now is
3.
A lot of this stuff is 3.
Okay.
3.5. Okay, so now we're getting on to kind of the more random things that they've kind of announced or spoken about. There's no more big changes for Season 6 necessarily in terms of this stuff, in terms of patch note stuff, apart from what we see on Tuesday. And also from things I'm going to be talking about later on, like a new god in 6.1. That's quite big. However, we're going to go through and I'm just going to list some things. They're not necessarily in any particular order, but here's some things they've announced. We'll discuss each one as we go. Assault. They have discussed Assault changes. They think they're a couple months away for Assault. They still want to make the map update. They still want to make it Norse. They still want to make it Astral, like the Astral theme. But they might look at layout changes, new gameplay mechanics to encourage aggression and prevent camping. We have seen a little bit of concept art, but really they didn't say as much as I thought they would on the patch notes stuff. Like they didn't really talk about it at all. There's like a 5-minute section where they just showed some concept art and they basically said, we don't know yet. We're still experimenting. We might have this. We might have this.
Assault's a very interesting game mode and kind of interesting as in different, and making that different into a different but still fun is quite hard to do, because right now it's kind of just sit there and poke them with a long stick while you're scared and hope you don't lose a team of fight, or it'll start the whole back and forth, and it's not ideal.
Yes, exactly. Moving on to where are we going? The new event. So there is a new event coming with 6.1, I believe, which is... Hold on. No. I might be wrong here. So this is different. So there is a new event coming. I think they're doing something with battle passes or something. That more revealed for that on Tuesday. But there is a new unlimited skin kind of tag. So we've got limited and we've got exclusive. There's an unlimited skin.
Just throw them at everyone. Everyone gets unlimited skins.
Now, I'm not entirely sure because there is an event going on right now. I'm not sure whether... I think it's for this event. I think it's for the Legend of Camelot event. But the Legend of Camelot event, the ultimate skin is a Merlin skin. And this is going to be an unlimited skin. So it's a reward skin, so you can still get it through event. But it's also direct purchase at a very increased cost. I don't know whether this is still going to be during the event. It is only going to be during the event, or whether it's going to persist. But you can purchase it at a very high cost, which comes similar to buying everything in an event and getting it. So you might as well buy everything in the event so that you get free stuff as well as the Merlin, the skin. Right?
Cool. Yeah.
So it's kind of for people that I don't know. I guess it's kind of for collectors. I guess that come to the game later or something.
Yeah. That's very cool.
So in terms of events, your FP will be reset on Season 6. The season ticket is not coming back anyway for next season. I think it's being replaced with this battle pass thing. According to data mining, there's going to be 6 battle passes during the year. We'll see. God. So some things about gods now. They spoke a bit about individual gods during the Q&A and stuff. For Zeus, decreasing the damage and stuff. Actually, you know what? We'll discuss exactly what happened to Zeus so that we know here. So his 2 cooldown increased from 10 to 12. His detonate increased damage a lot more in the late game. His power scaling on his detonate has increased from 18% to 25%, but reduced multiplication for each charge from 1.23 to 1.7, 2.4. And Lightning Storm, his ult, adjusted damage to go from 100. It was 120 to 200. It's now 100 to 220. So it's kind of increased that range and increased magical power scaling from 50% to 55% on the ult. So they spoke about Zeus here. They wanted to reduce the core frustration with him. But I think this is by reducing that multiplication for each charge whilst detonating.
Yeah.
Competitively, he's not seen very much, so they're fine with Zeus being buffed a bit. This is a buff. They're fine with him being buffed a bit. More normal modes are nerfs for him. So the other Conquest, it's a modes other than Conquest. This is a nerf for him, is what they're saying.
Fair enough.
In general, from December, this is what they said. They don't only consider Conquest for balance. They look at stats from Conquest, Arena, and Joust, which is the most popular. Generally, Conquest they go with because they're pro feedback and more community feedback for Conquest. Whenever they make a change, they always ask themselves how it will change other modes. Generally, the idea comes from Conquest, but they look at other modes when making these changes. It's why our Pwatch, for example, took a long time to balance. Because he's very good in other modes.
Yeah. That is interesting because you can't balance all these characters, all these items in every game mode.
No.
That is impossible. So you need... I just smacked my mic. So you need...
Why?
It was being mean to me.
Oh.
So you need to focus on one. Factoring in the others, depending on how much you factor it in, isn't too bad. But it's just kind of... I don't know, you can get stuck trying to fix something that can't be fixed and trying to balance it for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like why our push took so long.
How did you just call it? What's his name?
Our push.
You just said our push.
Our push took so long.
I push you. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Fair
that's
enough.
one of the reasons that everyone says why has Smite got so many game modes, because it's so hard to balance that many. But they're doing a decent job right now, so I shouldn't really complain, should I?
No, sweet. Freya. They want to see how the perception. So they haven't made any changes to Freya in this patch notes, which was a big kind of no for a lot of people. That Freya's very strong right now, but they want to see how the perception of her recent nerf goes before changing her again. They're still willing to look at Freya. She has a balanced win rate right now, but they know that's not the whole picture with God balance. Like I just spoke about, they know about the kind of banish into her one Polynomicon combo, and they're looking into that because that's very frustrating. It's fun as a Freya player, but not very fun to play against. Nike, new player. She is a new player god, but they didn't really leverage her as a new player god when they first brought her out. By like making her free or playing her through the tutorial, for example. Maybe if they did that, she would be more popular because she is still technically the best god in the game by numbers. So this is about that. Skadi, the ult feels lackluster, but she is technically, according to the numbers, one of the best hunters in the game. So they want to be careful with her. She has not got any buffs this patch. She's still probably in terms of perception, I think one of the worst hunters, if not the worst. Ratatoskr, his acorn will not stack with the new elixir of speed. They could potentially let him sell the acorn in the future, maybe, but they're not really looking at that. But he is early. He is an early game character, so the idea is to kind of win before that point. That's the idea with Freya. So
yeah, that's fair. I hadn't thought of that actually.
Speaking of
any
gods,
other gods that have movement speed?
Yeah, no, there is not. In terms of an item, no. Speaking of gods, Jormungandr.
I'm more excited for Jormungandr than I am for Arthur or Merlin.
Classic Jormungandr.
Yorgi boy.
Jormungandr. We're gonna have this again.
Wait, what?
So
what is it?
You say Jormungandr. It's Jormungandr.
So it's Jormungandr.
Jormungandr.
Okay.
So they spoke a lot about this during December, but obviously I forgot about it. So let's go through over everything that we know about Jormungandr so far. Jormungandr's model, his neck is going to be above ground, right? He'll be the tallest god in the game, but not as wide as others. They said that they're hiding his class recently, but during December they said he will probably be a guardian.
That makes sense.
So he was pitched as a giant sea serpent. The sea serpent look from lore. His spines are connected by fins, and there are fins on the side of his head. He's being made to look intimidating. He's going to be a bad guy in the lore of SMITE. So his head and the neck is above ground, so you assume the body is infinite and underground, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
They're going to balance him around things that he can't, or that you can't do to him. For example, he cannot be lifted into the air at all, like from knock-ups or banishes.
Ooh.
Because obviously, he's below ground. Like, you can't just have a whole circle.
Yeah.
He will be immune because he's infinite. Maybe he'll receive percentage debuffs instead of being banished, or maybe even, for example, Nejarol is an execute instead. They have kind of said, but they're still obviously working on. This was from December, so they're still working on him. Apophis from Clash was an early concept for Jormungandr.
Ha!
Damn it. So Apophis, the big Clash thing was an early concept for Jormungandr.
The big Clash thing.
Nidhogg was in the files. It is a kind of other serpent thing from another thing. Was in the files, but that was Jormungandr to throw data miners off. Nidhogg probably not going to be into the game, not going to be made into the game because of Jormungandr, but maybe a skin for Jormungandr. That's what we know about Jorm.
That's cool. Sorry, I just yawned. That is cool though. So I like how they would go full on with the infinite body under the ground and how they're thinking about it and being like,
yeah,
well, he doesn't get knocked up, maybe he would get slowed, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nejarol, I have no idea what they're gonna do. That's gonna be funny.
It would look funny though, seeing a giant serpent coming from the ground, like going up into the air.
I just want to see, because obviously there isn't actually any serpent down there. I just want to see at some point someone like bug the game out and you just see like the little cylinder and then it just stops a foot below the ground. Wouldn't that be funny?
Let's discuss more gods though. They discussed them during the Q&A. In terms of gods being added, they do not think in the way of, this pantheon does not have as many gods, so we will make gods for that pantheon. Instead, they think, this god would be awesome, let's add him to the game. So they don't look at pantheons and filling out pantheons and stuff.
That's
they obviously can revisit those pantheons, however, and stuff. So they've said if the community wants more gods in those pantheons, don't just say make more in those pantheons, actually give them ideas and concepts and reasons why the god would be good in the game. That's what they kind of said to the community. There are no other Arthurian characters on the schedule after Merlin. Ajax, during the pitching phase, did pitch Lady of the Lake from Arthurian pantheon, a stereotypical dragon as well, like Uther Pendragon. Mordred, which is the son of Arthur. I think he's part of the lore in SMITE, or at least he was in the video that they released about the lore between Arthur and SMITE. Okay. Lancelot, they spoke about. Guinevere, Sir Tristan. They also talked about Robin Hood. But they thought that was too much.
That's a different pantheon.
Yeah.
Is that?
They also discussed Morgan Le Fay, who's very similar to Morrigan apparently, but so in terms of other gods outside the Arthurian pantheon, Maui is on the list of gods to explore from Moana, so for the Polynesian pantheon.
That'd be interesting.
Baba Yaga spoken about for the Slavic pantheon. Baba Yaga was,
but he sounds scary.
He was kind of close. Do you remember in Ant-Man and the Wasp when the guy starts singing the lullaby?
Oh my god, yeah! I know I recognise the name from somewhere.
Yeah.
So is that the nightmare creature that he?
Yes. She's an old woman, I think.
That was funny.
So Baba Yaga was actually kind of close to Chernobog in terms of which one they release into the game first. They've spoken about a Korean pantheon. This is from December stuff now. They've spoken about Korean pantheon. Typhon is not high on the list for god list, maybe in the middle of the list, but if right factors fall into place, then gods can be moved around. Cthulhu would be fun and maybe possible as a playable god. Season 7 gods have not been planned at all yet. Cool.
Cthulhu.
They also discussed people like Bigfoot and stuff, but no, which is what we discussed last podcast, didn't we? Something like that.
Yes,
anyway,
we did.
Female
a Legends pantheon.
There are female deities coming out this year, but they won't say how many. And yeah, that's all that there is for gods.
Cool.
So, moving on, UI. They're speaking about UI a lot. They have said PC is a work in progress in terms of UI. They are not.
Have they said whoops? Sorry, yeah.
They're not currently planning to revert it. Unification. Yeah. So the idea is that this UI is a unification of platforms. It'll pay off in the long run for their team. So they want for future they want all of the in-game client to be changed. Nothing to do with the in-game HUD though. They don't want that changing. Right now they're just bug fixing for the UI, so they're not changing any other UIs. They're just bug fixing. From December they said these are necessary changes, especially for long term. A current UI team needs to do multiple things for multiple platforms. If everything's the same, then they need to do less, and features can be added like that quicker. So things that need UIs can be added quicker.
That's fair enough. Because I said in the last podcast, why do you want them all to be the same? Mm-hmm. Because they're different platforms, and I didn't consider the teams that are working on the UIs. Yep. So now it all makes sense. That's fair enough.
They also said they want people to disconnect from "this is change, it's bad" feel. So maybe they're giving it a little bit more time to people to make sure they like it. To kind of settle it in, right? Because change, is scary. So, so that's UI. To be honest, I do agree that they. I mean, the thing is, they did even speak about. Do you remember the podcast where I spoke about a lot of things for the UI from that UI designer? Yeah. In the video, they said that they watched that video and they've made changes based on that video already. So cool. They're looking at things and they're being good.
Good HiRez.
Good HiRez.
A treat.
Remodels in general for gods. This is very much random stuff now. Remodels for gods. They are planning one. Before they said that they didn't want to do remodels because it's not beneficial directly to them. But they are now planning one. It's going to be a while. It's in the 2D art phase right now, and they have a very much lower priority to the skin remodels of some skins.
Really?
Yes, because I mean, he gave the example of there was a bunch of pro players in an assault in like a match today or something, and they all played Solar Sentinel Ra. They want there's a lot of people that still like this kind of almost retro feel, so they want to be careful with that, because a lot of people do want reskins. Remodels to skins, but a lot of people don't.
But if you remodel a god and leave a lot of the skins the same, they can still get the retro feel. Also, you can there are retro skins in the game as skins.
Sure. Yeah, I know what you mean. Duo queue for ranked now, and queuing in general. Obviously, less constraints for the matchmaker, the better, which is why they made this change. Obviously, so I'm talking about when they removed duo queue from ranked last year. They felt it was worth it to remove. They felt it was worth it to remove it, because the people who... Wait, hold on. They felt it was worth
Take your
it
time.
to remove it to the people
No one's
who would
listening.
stop playing. But the number of players who played ranked during this change stayed exactly the same. So they may have lost some, but they have gained some people from this change, and they've made the matchmaking better. So it's overall better in their eyes.
Yeah.
They'll evaluate this after 6-1. They might bring it back depending on how 6-1 matchmaking and stuff goes. Or maybe after 6-5 when they've introduced the new ranked stuff. It's totally possible to bring back, maybe with cross-platform ranked. Cross-platform ranked might be a thing potentially in the future if people don't mind that. I do mind that.
I mind that.
Personally. I feel like competitively you need to keep people on the same input.
I mean, the other thing about the duo queue and the number of players staying the same is that people that play ranked, most of them play ranked and they only want to play ranked. And they aren't going to stop playing ranked because they can't play their duo. I mean, some people will, but most people will just begrudgingly play ranked without their friend, slightly more annoyed about it.
Sure.
Which is why they still need to listen to the community and figure out what's being said. Because I feel like, I don't know, the fact that the number of people stayed the same isn't really saying a lot, because people just like playing ranked, and they may like it more with their friends, but they'll still like playing it.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, they will look at it. They will look at it after rank changes have been made. But yeah. They kept the multi-queuing for Joust because, and outright Ajax just said because they thought literally no one would play it if they made it solo queue. Maybe they should have it. Maybe they should have made it trio only, is what he said. But no, that's for the future. Clans, they're in the early stages of changes. They want to add more rewards. It's going to be a while before these changes work. Before the changes are implemented, though, it's a UI heavy task. So they're looking to change the normal UI first, and then getting onto clan stuff.
I mean, yeah, their UI team isn't very busy right now, so they might as well.
Of course. And they do still think it's good for new players. You know, you get 5 free skins. That's a lot more than a lot of other games give. So yeah. Random things now. Very much. I know I've said random things like 2-3 times.
More
now.
random.
This is
random
very much
things.
Random things. This is like one line.
Randomist things.
One line random things. So random skin might be possible. So like, deciding,
Yeah.
a random skin. So this is all from kind of
that.
Q&A stuff. What random people have asked. Looking at loadout during the god selection breaks things. That's what I said. They're not looking at ranked for other modes, for various reasons, but have looked into the possibility of having some sort of progression for those normal modes. Not necessarily a ranked system, but maybe just gain points, so just positive stuff and not lose them. Like ranked, so just gain them, like, I don't know, 10 for a win, 1 for a loss kind of thing. Community tournaments are also possible for these. Joust might be a good test bed for the progression thing. That's what I said. I like this idea. So they wouldn't have another queue. It would just be the same queue, but on top of it there would be progression if you care about it. And I always like progression. I'm very much a progression person. I like progression.
Yeah.
I like this.
Just another little thing, just to be like, hey.
This is my squad. This is what I've got, and maybe even rewards to getting certain milestones as well in that.
Yeah, sure.
They've not discussed map updates after Assault just yet, but they feel like Joust has room for optimizations, but probably wouldn't go with a whole redesign. They've only just recently done that.
Joust.
They're not looking at a separate duel map, but they could make adjustments to Joust map just for duel. So no new Joust map for now, but maybe art touch-ups or balance changes for current one. Siege and Clash, there are no major reworks planned right now for those, and I don't think they're looking at removing them either. Yeah. And also the new kill bounty stuff is for all game modes.
Right, okay.
Discussed, so.
Does it affect all game modes equally, or does it have different...
I couldn't tell you.
...values? Because the current system has, like, subtle differences in the minimum bounties and stuff in different game modes. The base
I think with the overall change of higher reward for killing higher players is being kept, but probably not the numbers. No, the numbers are probably changing slightly per mode. In Assault, Baron. So there's a big discussion about Baron Samedi, whether he should be considered a healer for Assault, right? Because obviously they have one healer per team or whatever, and they balance it like that. In Assault, Baron Samedi has less healing than the lowest technical healer, Sylvanus. Hell is the highest at 24,000. Silver's at 12,000 average healing across games. Baron is at 8,000. Now Cupid, I believe, is a technical healer, but he's lower than Baron, so I don't know what that's about. It was kind of confusing how they spoke about it, but so it's also worth checking on Cupid and stuff. So yeah, it's Cupid, then Baron, and then the other healers. They don't like making conditional healers. So obviously Baron has to hit an enemy to get healed. They don't like making those technical healers for Assault. They'd rather have it consistent.
That's fair enough.
So
makes sense.
2v2 not being thought about.
Cool.
They have said. It was actually a question from episode 13 of our podcast, last episode, from Chase Griggs on YouTube. He says, "Hey guys, I've got a much simpler question this time. Why is it that there are permanent game modes for 1, 3, 4, and 5 players, but Joust, the two of us, is a limited time mode?" Most games,
they aren't thinking about it.
Most games support duos nowadays, except Smite. Why? Why is that the case? Because I've always wanted the 2v2 mode.
I'd never thought about that before reading that comment. But actually, yeah, that is the one thing that I did know about before going into this podcast. Because I do read the comments and I did read that. But I've thought about it and I have no idea. It's weird. Because it's nice to get to start up Smite with however many friends you've managed to grab, and you've got, oh, there's 3 of us, Joust. Oh, there's 4 of us, Siege. Oh, there's 2 of us, Dyoku Conquest.
Yeah, I don't know. It does feel weird. I feel like out of all those numbers, 4 would be the one that's like a no.
Yeah, because when you've got 4 people, it's basically a whole Conquest game. But when you've got 2, it is weird.
It is weird, yes.
And the fact they aren't thinking about it at all is like, but why?
Yep. Exactly.
So sorry, really unsatisfying answer for you.
Yeah.
Of we don't know.
Yeah. It would be nice. I mean, I guess they do have Joust, the 2 of us, but it's also not a mode either. It is just in Joust. So it would be nice. I always thought Clash would be a good 2v2.
Clash is a good 2v2 map because when there's 4 of us, sometimes we'll do 2v2s, and Clash is a good map for that.
Yeah. Maybe some maybe a little bit of changes here and there, but yeah. They are making titles for winning for winning pros for pro players. World Champion title will be given to all SWC winners in the game. And every SPL player will have their team name as a title, so not just the clan name you can see now. which can be, messed around with. People can make like similar looking clan tags or whatever. They'll have an official title saying what team they're on, and also if they're a world champion. Boom.
That's cool. If you have multiple titles, do you have to pick the title?
Yes.
Okay. You can't just string them together forever.
You can't have King, Queen, Dame, Sir, World Champion. No. They said they will look at Guardian's Blessing if nothing changes for solo lane in 6.1. Random stuff. No spectator rework planned, but looking at bugs for current one.
Right, yeah, thank you. My next question after you said no reworks was, are they going to make it work? So yeah, that's good.
They're planning on making new videos on how to play Smite. New player experience stuff they're working on as well. But the thing is, there is lots of information in Smite, and people don't want to be bombarded with this at the start. That's what they've looked at. People are discussing more bans for ranked. They said more bans doesn't mean more balance. It will hurt the variance of the gods, because then gods who are high ban just become 100% ban, etc. So it might make it even more stagnant if there are more bans. So they're not really looking at that. They do not plan on bringing new VGS into the game because of voice actors. If they did, it would have to be default only, but that's not great because then people report it as a bug.
But I like the like they can do little changes in the text. Like, so for example, what's the ultimate on cooldown voice line? Ultimate is down. Is what they say. And a while ago, they were like, well, we can't get voice actors back for it, but we can just add a little timer for how long the cooldown is on your ultimate. I like little things like that, like where you can just add little bits of additional text for not a lot of effort that give a lot of information.
I mean, like for example, Pyromancer, what they could do is like add another command where it will still say attack the fire giant, but in brackets it will say Pyromancer, for example.
Yeah.
That could be good.
Or enemies at fire giant Pyromancer.
Yeah, or for attack the Gold Fury, attack the Oracles as well. Yeah, enemies at, so, yeah, they have set...
Or they could just add a VGS line for ward the fire giant.
Yeah, but they can't do that.
They could do something, though. That's been in the game for fucking years.
They have said...
Ever since we started playing.
Yeah.
There's Ul Ward everywhere, and there's Ward Fire Giant, but there isn't Ul Ward the Fire Giant.
Yep. And things like also enemy ward here as well. People tend to use now ward here, which is I think usually is used for like can you ward here, please, rather than there is a ward here. But yeah, Ajax did say that no game has ever made matchmaking perfect, right? It's impossible. Making matchmaking perfect is easier than bringing a new VGS command into the game and getting all the voice actors. That's what he said.
I don't know. I was playing Portal recently, and the matchmaking seemed really good.
Moving on. They don't like doing God reworks. You're throwing me now. They don't like doing God reworks. In general, they have no planned reworks right now. They prefer to do slight shifts. Which I agree with. It kind of keeps the feel of the God with doing slight shifts rather than making.
They've been doing that for a while now, and it's been working pretty well.
Yep. They were asked, "Are you afraid of a tank meta for season 6?" Ajax outright said yes. Tank meta is probably the worst state to be in for the game, is what he said. However, there are anti-tank items in game to pick up if it ever becomes a thing, and they can also obviously buff these items if they need, if tanks need to be shut down a little bit more. So that's cool. They probably will not add the rotation thing to all older tier 5 skins. Like, how the VXG thing, the tier 5 areas you can switch between each different. However, maybe for future ones, though, they've said. They've also said there's an angelic skin incoming. They are speaking about changing Toxic Blade. They draft pick for Casual Conquest, which was discussed during the middle of the year last year, is on hold indefinitely. They've said they don't want to split up queues, and core things right now is play the god you want and get into game faster. Draft Casual is bad at doing both those things. So yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, it seemed weird when I saw it on the matchmaking change, like potential things, and I'm like, but it's a casual game for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much all of it from the last week or so. We're gonna discuss some more. Just quick things that they discussed in December that I never got around to discussing. So they want to make stuff more cohesive using the lore and gods and events in the same world, for example. They want to skin more gods in Season 6, and they want to introduce more skin themes. There is one coming for 6.2, a skin theme. They want to slow down on tech skins. Too many of one skin, too many of a skin from the same theme can be bad with any theme.
Too much of a good thing.
Yeah, chibi skins are planned, one very soon and one planned for distant future, and they are discussing gender bend skins. More adventures for Season 6. They're finding game modes that people actually want to play.
That'd be helpful.
They see adventures as cool prototypes for things to put in game. They are not going back to the cart game mode. They specifically said. They said it was a good experiment. It was a good experiment, but yeah. They removed god icon avatars because no one used them. So they discussed before about how this was like a.
I use them sometimes.
They discussed it before about they removed them because it was detrimental to their servers and stuff. But yeah, so they've actually come out and said that it's because no one used them. They can bring them back as part of events. That's what they've said.
Do we get favour returned if we bought things?
Oh no, they didn't remove them. Oh. This was a very long time ago. They just stopped making them.
Oh right, okay,
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
They have never cancelled a god in development. They never get past the concept phase and cancel. God announcer packs are continuing. They are popular.
True.
They are never thinking about removing gods from the game at all in the future.
Well, gods are a fairly integral part of the game.
As in they're not thinking about removing them because they're too many or anything.
Okay.
Hardest class to get right in terms of balance is assassins and warriors. Hunters and mages can check damage. They can check the damage output. Assassins are underpowered or overpowered in general because of their design. Warriors are good at everything if they're OP. When nerfing, they look at the thing that they're strongest at, but warriors can be good at everything. So it's hard to balance warriors. No summer of Smite next year. They think it's constraining in the theme of the skins. They will have more summary skins, but there won't be an event dedicated to it. They want to make it more tied into the lore instead, and it's going to be around the Horus and Set releases.
I like that quite a lot.
Same. As much as I do like summer skins, it was also, it was constraining.
It's constraining, and it gets boring after this is the 6th skin. What's it gonna be? It's a summer skin. Oh my god! Come on.
Yeah. Dance emotes are difficult and expensive, and people don't get too pumped about them, so they've slowed down those a little bit. Fenrir is staying as an assassin, even though he's being played in support a lot. Ajax is not a fan of Sylvanas' passive, but it works well for the god as it is, he says.
Which one's Sylv passive?
The one where you get rooted for basic attacking them over.
Oh, yeah.
Skin concepts from the community are talked about all the time, and they're asking community members for legal stuff quite a bit, in terms of these community designs and stuff. If you want if you want a skin in game, then don't make it look like another product and follow the character silhouette and rig. Fair enough. They're thinking about adding tags like Alcon is a mage assassin, for example. It wouldn't change the stats at all. That'd be kind of good because I know you don't want people playing Alcon in the mid lane. Ajax likes how tanks can do damage. It's unlike other games. Ajax would love to do a reflect an ability as an ability, but it's very difficult to implement because they would have to code every ability individually. Yeah, no plans for mastery skins after Diamond, especially because they're just finishing updating old mastery skins.
They had a little effect though, like stars above your head or something.
Sure. They do have the diamond rewards, like for getting specific diamond. For getting a number of diamonds. By the way, I'm at 19 diamonds now. I only need one more to get the other recall skin.
Oh my god!
Very exciting.
Maybe if instead of being only per god diamonds, if you have 5,000 worshippers in one god, that counts as 5 diamonds.
Oh, I see. Towards this thing.
Towards
that might be
those
good, actually,
rewards.
because the last reward is 80 gods, and that's
yeah.
Crazy. I mean, a lot of people have it, and it's very much a stretch goal.
Yeah, it's still crazy.
Yeah. They're being careful with CDR. Pros said that there can be too much CDR in games, and it's dangerous to add more CDR to items. They've tried a mind control god idea in prototypes, but it's very dangerous and it's not fun. So don't expect to see that. And last thing from December, they're going to start posting on Steam forums, maybe giveaways exclusive for Steam forums as well. And in general, they want Season 6 feedback. So if you have any feedback, go tweet at them, go post on Reddit, go post on the forums, etc. They want feedback for this stuff.
It seems like HiRez recently have really been listening to the community.
Yeah.
So message them, they will probably see it, and they will factor it in.
So Tuesday's show...
I just smacked the mic again.
Nice. Speaking about Tuesday's show now, ranked rewards will be shown. I think they've been shown on Twitter and stuff as well, but the Guan Yu skin that you get for ranked and the loading frame that's linked to that Guan Yu skin will be shown on fully in Tuesday's show. You have until Season 6 starts, and the time is updated in game now, to get these rewards along with your season ticket rewards. The Baron Samedi skin for unbanned players and played 50 games will be revealed on Tuesday as well. Tuesday, Merlin is being revealed. They have so much stuff coming in 6.1.
They've revealed Merlin? Wow.
No, they're going to reveal Merlin on Tuesday. So they have done a little bit of a closer look at Merlin blog post, and in general, let's discuss how his stance changes work. So he has 3 stances. He has Arcane, Fire, and Arcane, Fire, and Ice.
Yes, we talked about Merlin being an elemental mage and how that'd be cool.
Yes, so Arcane has his only hard CC, and a high damage ability with medium range. This is considered in testing as his safest lane clear stance. His Fire stance is a high risk, high reward with close range, no CC, and the most damage. Ideal for aggressive power players and securing kills. The Ice stance is a long range, low cooldown, lower damage, and slowing as CC. Great for long range poke and dances around FG or Gold Fury. So yeah, he does have these 3 stances.
How do you change stances?
So his ult his ult changes the stance. It's very similar to like an ult change, which I'm meh
but it
about.
goes between three.
It does go between three. Yeah, so you can quickly change to. I'm assuming it's going to work like Kernanos one, how you can like, cycle through them. But so the ult is available at rank 0 to change stances, but it deals so the ult when you change ult, when you change stance, your first stance, damaging type, kind of shoots outwards from you, and then your new damaging type shoots back into you, so that whole area does damage as you're changing stance, but it deals no damage at rank 0. There is a new type of stance change with a short time window where players can choose which stance he will change to. Each stance features 2 damaging abilities, and for every stance, he has a movement ability that is the same on all 3 stances. So that ability doesn't really change. So he doesn't have like 3 different movement abilities.
But is the cooldown different?
The cooldown is not reset. Is not reset upon switching stances.
Okay.
He has 2 uniquely shaped damaging abilities. One is an inner and outer radius on a projectile. One is 2 cones facing each other. So we'll see. And his hard CC is a unique type of CC. This is a ranged instant vortex. After a warm up time, all enemies are pulled to the center.
So I like that. That's fancy.
Think Orisa from Overwatch is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's Merlin that we know him so far. I'm still annoyed that they didn't make him an older man, because that would have been really cool. They discussed things like his visuals are so his personality is incredibly knowledgeable and wise, clever, at times sarcastic and conceited. But this kind of knowledge and wise doesn't really look good on a young person. Like the visuals, they've said, are clearly wearing mystical symbols and powerful relics, yet agile. And I don't see why he has to be agile. Obviously, that comes from the young look, but
I know we've discussed this before, because he's kind of. He needs to be a fairly similar age to King Arthur. Now, and King Arthur needs to be young.
Apparently, Merlin. Now, I don't really know much about the lore of this, but Merlin was like the mentor to Arthur. In some cases, in some kind of weird way.
Not as I understood it. Not as in like an older, more experienced mentor, as I understood it. But my understanding does come from a TV show.
Here we go. Merlin is the most legendary wizard of all time. He is rumoured to be part demon, but much of his history is unknown. Merlin is most renowned for the work he did with the Pendragon family. He helped Uther rise to power, and after Uther fell in battle, Merlin mentored the young King Arthur. This is on the blog post for Smite, so maybe this is what they've decided for themselves, or maybe that's actual lore. But
well, if they've decided that, then why is Merlin's so young?
Yeah, he's like he looks younger than Arthur. Although,
also, Merlin...
I did see someone say, and I like this kind of for my kind of canon brain, is he is a sorcerer. He does magic. He uses magic to make himself look younger.
That's the thing with Merlin. That's what I was going to come on to. Because there's the whole thing of like, did he ever really die? And there's like, there's the weird there is weird mystery around, is he immortal? Is he reincarnated potentially as a younger person? Can he change his age? Like, it's a very wavy, cloudy, not really, like, he isn't just young, then old, then dead, according to legend. Fair
enough. I'd like a skin for him that's older, like a,
Dumbledore skin.
Tuesday has the Merlin review, as well as bug fixes, other in-game systems, and skins, etc. It will still feel like a full patch show, regardless of all this other stuff from this week.
Awesome.
So yeah, that is everything. That's been revealed for season 6, I think, in general.
Woo!
Some other quick official stuff.
This isn't me clapping.
Oh. Rhymes with clapping there, right?
Yeah. Snapping.
Yeah.
My fingers.
Snapping fingers. So, HiRezStew posted a 2019 HiRez Studios update. In terms of SMITE, he said SMITE has its strongest year to date in 2018, with major updates to both Conquest and Arena maps, 3 new Pantheons, a constant stream of new events and adventures, and our most balanced and exciting esports season in years. In 2019, SMITE comes to Nintendo Switch. Closed beta begins later this month, with an open beta coming soon thereafter. SMITE Season 6, which starts in February, brings cross-platform play and progression to the battleground. Season 6 also promises new Pantheons, new maps, and new ways to play on the horizon, as well as some of the most requested new gods of all time. HiRez Chris, who used to work that's a Windows update, used to work for SMITE, and then worked for Paladins, is now back in SMITE. And also the CEO, HiRez, is now no longer CEO. He will remain the chairman of the board and majority owner. But HiRezStew, I think, is now the CEO, if you care.
Cool.
Sweet.
I'm not sure what a lot of those words mean, but cool.
Sweet. And one last thing for official stuff. The Olympians, I think the vote is, I believe, still going on. Hold on. Let me just check. So you have until the 25th to get votes done for the Olympians, which is the people who are going to be directly talking to HiRez, from people from the community, so the people from the community can go to if they have any thing there. Our friends, some of our friends are on here, some non-network friends. People like Flareboot, who made the Word of Thoth documentation. Who else? There's someone else. Snufflebox, who has sent in some skins, or a skin or two in the past, to Community Concepts, and also where is he? Where am I looking? Fro Double G from Battleground of the Gods podcast, who has helped us somewhat with our podcast and stuff, and they also do a very good podcast as well. No enemies here. They might be another might be a rival podcast, but no enemies.
We just know her better, so it's fine.
So yeah, that is it for official stuff. It's been roughly 2 hours already.
If you've listened to everything, why?
Okay, let's discuss community now. So obviously a lot of the community stuff was from the kind of Q&A stuff that we've just spoke about, but there was also something also that I wanted to bring up. A podcast or so ago, I discussed how someone had sent us a load of questions to speak about, and we were going to get through them over time. Here's one. By the way, so Genereder is the guy's name, and he actually commented on our podcast last episode, discussing how. Hold on. He said, "Oh, by the way, because you guys were wondering about my name, it's Generator.
Yeah, Danny, I knew that." I thought we were making a joke.
No. Generator. No. I thought that was just a weird name. But,
because for reference, it's generator, but it's also every other letter is capital, which is why I was going generator.
Yeah.
But you just didn't know.
No. I just thought it was generator. Wow. Right. So one of the questions, custom key binding, pros and cons, and how would a perfect key binding look like? So he's given an example of abilities on the pinky and thumb to have complete movement at all times, etc. So I think we've really spoken about key bindings on the podcast, so I thought this could be cool to discuss.
Well, you've got a 5 billion button mouse.
So I have 12 buttons next to my thumb on my mouse. I have the UTech Smart Venus MMO gaming mouse, and I got this. I can't remember why I got this, but years ago, or like a couple of years ago maybe, I got this, and I decided to put my abilities and upgrade abilities on 8 of the buttons of the 12, and I cannot go back to keyboard anymore now. So I just have all abilities 1, 2, 3, 4, and then upgrade abilities above those, and then I have back and item shop on there as well. So I use 10 out of the 12.
I only have 3 buttons on the side of. Okay, I have more than 3 buttons on my mouse, but on the side of my mouse, I only have 3 buttons.
Noob.
And I just use them for first ability, first active, first consumable, which is a stupid way of doing it. I don't know why I did that, but that's the way that I did it.
Wait, first ability, did you say?
I have the top button is first ability, middle is first relic, and the bottom one is first consumable.
You could have all abilities on there and then have the ultimate somewhere else.
Yeah, I could. But this is how I learned it.
Can you not change now?
This is how I thought of doing it.
Yeah.
3.5, 4 years ago, and I can't change my habit now. Like it seems natural to me, even though it's weird. But as far as if we're going without the mouse, I know that a lot of our friends rebound because suppressing the F keys is a bit weird and out of reach. So a lot of our friends have Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, and Control 4, or something similar.
Really?
Yeah, to level up abilities.
Oh, that's weird.
Because they just find it. Yeah, you don't need to move your hand.
As in control, as in hold Control and press 1. Yeah, don't like that.
Because it's not like you may not know this, but us keyboard peasants have to reach quite far to press the F keys, and it's moving the hand, and it's annoying.
Yeah, but it's one button as opposed to 2.
Yeah, but it's just like a little flick of the fingers instead of a flick of the wrist.
Sure. But yeah, I don't think there's ever a perfect look for it. I think it's very much based on your preferences. I mean,
I'd love to get a survey of what all the non-average key bindings people have out. Like what's the
and pro players
most common level up key that isn't the F1 key, for example?
And pro players as well. It'd be cool to see what they do as well. But yeah, thank you for the question, Generator. If anyone else has any questions they'd like to see answered, or problems they have, then do either comment on the videos or send us a tweet with the hashtag SmiteCompod and at us NomNetworkYT, and you get a free ice cream. You don't actually.
Oh, okay.
Although we could make that.
We're gonna have to send ice creams around. Ice creams. We need to include like a chilling box. I mean, you've picked a really inconvenient food to provide to people.
Yeah, but if you think about it, when it gets to them, they can just refreeze it. You know, the ice cream.
I don't think. I'm not an expert on ice cream. I'm allergic to dairy, but I don't think that's how ice cream works.
Oh yeah, no, it does. As an expert on ice cream, it does. Moving on to suggestions.
You're doing a course on ice cream. Okay.
Exactly. Moving on to suggestion section. There is only one today.
One.
Yeah. One sole suggestion.
You are the one.
From the British Zombie on Reddit. We need a Ratatoskr Fenrir skin. Call it wolf in rat's clothing, and we can be done with it. But it's 100% needed. So to kind of go off the Ratatoskr.
But that's cool. But like, the whole point of Ratatoskr. Wait, is it Ratatoskr?
Ratatoskr, yeah.
Yeah, the whole point of, I can't say it. The whole point of Ratatoskr,
yes,
is that like rats trying to be intimidating by dressing up as Fenrir.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the whole like defend the middle lane and like all that sort of thing. Because he's trying to be intimidating. There would need to be some kind of character motivation behind Fenrir.
But imagine
to dress up like rat.
Imagine like the dog skin for Kook. For example, like it doesn't. I don't know. Like I feel like okay. The character could be, you know how people dress up their dogs, and dogs hate it.
Oh, like a really disgruntled Fenrir.
Yeah, just like
that's good.
Hating this costume they've got on, like any other.
We have to do that. Okay, now I'm completely sold because that's amazing. Would you rather fight 100 Ratatoskr-sized Fenrir or one Fenrir-sized Ratatoskr?
Oh, good God. So that's it for the podcast.
Fine.
I'm not answering. Although, okay, let's get into detail with this because obviously we have the time for that.
Yep.
So, 100 Ratatoskr-sized Fenrirs. That'd be awful. I'd rather fight one Fenrir-sized Ratatoskr.
But it's a massive Ratatoskr. It's gonna, like, its dash will just fucking bulldoze you.
It's only dog sized. It's only wolf sized.
Fenrir's quite a big dog.
Okay then, but like 100 different.
Imagine
Fenrirs.
Ratatoskr. Imagine a giant Fenrir-sized Ratatoskr, like belly flopping you from his ult.
Yeah, but it's easier to dodge than 100 Fenrirs.
But the 100 Fenrirs are just like little
Okay, what would you rather
nappy.
fight?
Like it's not. Sorry.
What would you rather fight?
I would rather fight the Fenrirs. I think. How much can they do? Like they can.
Suppose if I have like anything AOE.
Yeah, exactly.
If I had Yondu's arrow from Guardians.
If you had Yondu's arrow from Guardians, then you could do a lot more than, like, you could kill either of them, I'm pretty sure.
That's also true, actually. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, right, so we're getting to the end of the podcast now, but we do have an end section.
As you can tell from us talking about shit.
It is a brand new end section. However, I don't have a name for it. I would appreciate names. There has to be a...
God.
It has to be a... So, there's rules to follow. There has to be a god pun. So they've got a god name in the name as a pun, and then you're fine. But
yes.
The idea, so
uninterrupted god name.
The work in progress title is Season Predictions, right?
I'm gonna open the list of gods and see what I can come up with. Okay.
Yeah. So there are. So I have 5 questions here, and if anyone else has any more questions for this theme, then I'd love to know, because then we can do the next podcast as well. But so season predictions. So I have 5 questions here, and we're gonna just make predictions on what we think is going to be the answer for the whole of season 6, and then at the end of season 6, I guess we'll come back to them and see who was right.
Okay.
I thought this was a short. It should be a short.
This
one
should
as
be
well,
interesting.
It should be a short one as well, because we're spending a long time on this podcast. So,
yeah.
So,
actually, why don't you spend more time explaining to me why I think it'll be a short one?
What?
Just for the next 10 minutes, explain to me why I think it'll be a short one.
Yeah, of course.
Just so it's completely clear that this is going to not take very long.
Let's start with the first one. Kind of tricky, but we can also do like a case of like who's closest as well. God who is going to get the most skins for season 6.
I mean, there's an obvious answer.
What was your What would your other is your obvious answer the one that's got the most skins? Because remember that they said that they're trying to skin, or they're going to skin non-skin, not as skinned gods. So
who's underskinned but still popular and people would still buy the skins for?
I think I have my answer. Don't spend too long on it though.
I'm trying to think. Probably okay.
Go on.
Poseidon.
Interesting.
No, Baron Samedi.
Oh, fuck, I want Baron Samedi. Do we have to both change now?
I think we can both pick Baron Samedi, surely. Unless you want us to both change.
No, yeah, sure thing. I was going to make it a competition, but no, we can work together on this.
No, like as in like we can pick the same answer if we're against each other. It's just we both get a point.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay. Next one, class is the class that is going to get the most gods this year. So we already know this season. So we already know we already know Merlin's going to be a mage.
And Yorm's a guardian.
Yorm is probably a guardian. We know Set and Horus are coming, and we know the other 3 kinda. So I think
must be made.
I think it might be this. Okay, I've got mine then.
I just said mine out loud. Though.
Yeah.
What's yours, Danny?
Mine's Guardian.
Ooh. Ask me what mine is.
That's not. Is it maybe the one
Sorry?
that you said out loud?
Mine is Mage.
Oh wow! Who would have guessed? Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, it must be Mage, surely.
I don't know. Like they have. I mean, maybe. I don't know. God that will get most balance updates. That's individual changes. So, any individual change to a god. We can either do how many times they appear in balance, or we can do each individual change. What would you rather do? Just do how many times they appear.
How many times they appear?
So how many how many update notes that they get a balance change in? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. Okay. And we are including 6.1 in this as well. So.
Okay.
I am going to go with.
I think I've got an answer.
Same. Go on.
My answer is Jormungandr.
Okay.
Jormungandr.
Interesting.
Because I think he's going to be very difficult to balance based on what we've heard.
Sure. I am going with Merlin because he does have 3 stances, and also he's at the start of the year as well, rather than Jormungandr, which is further on.
Yeah, but you've got to think like it can't. I know. I thought Merlin, but I thought also that he would kind of have a few patches and then fizzle out towards the end of the year, where Jormungandr is going to be more challenging. I don't know. I'm guessing. Are you.
How many chapters of lore will there be this year, excluding prologues? They have to be chapters. They have to be chapter numbers and stuff. For example, in Heroes Odyssey, we had, I believe, was it 7? Yeah, 7 chapters. A Legend of Camelot is going to have like 5 chapters, I think. So it's
How are we
based on
doing
events.
this?
It's based on
Are we,
events and stuff.
are we doing closest wins, or are we doing Price is Right rules?
Well, that's the thing. I think for all of these, we might do closest because,
Okay.
yeah. So, don't do price is right rules.
I have an answer.
So this is for season 6. So,
Yeah.
we'll include all of the Legend of Camelot ones. So there's going to be 5 to discuss.
Okay.
Although, yeah, there'll be 5 to discuss already. So I'll add for my later self, including Legend of Camelot. Hold on. Right, let's think.
Can you write also, just write hello from Adam to Future Jedi?
Sure thing. Hello from...
God, in a year's time, we're going to be looking over this. That's
Yeah.
weird.
A
A lot happens in a year.
It does.
Okay.
Anything better so far. Let's go with... Okay. Let's go with... I'll go with that. What's your answer?
32.5.
32.5.
Well, because I couldn't decide between 30 and 35, so I split the difference.
Right. I've gone with 19. But you might be right. I don't know. I don't know how many events they plan to do and how much stuff they put for lore in it. But yeah, because I thought 5 from this event, and then maybe an event in the middle with 7 chapters, and then an event at the end with 7 chapters.
Yeah.
But they might have something in between.
That's reasonable.
Last thing to predict: how many item changes will there be in season 6? So
Oh god,
again,
Are you counting
we
this?
can do either individual changes or how many times an item appears in patch notes. I thought I should do the latter.
Wait, hold on. Are you doing number of item changes or the item that's changed the most?
Number of item changes.
Right.
How many item changes will there be? And I think we should do it how many times they appear in patch notes.
Are you going to be counting all
Yes.
of these?
So yeah, let's do it. Yes, let's do how many times they appear. How many times an item appears in update notes.
Hold
So
on. How many times
So it's similar
each
to what we did
specific
before.
item appears?
No.
Okay.
So how many times an item appears? So items are a team in this. How many times items are going to appear in the update notes?
Every time, surely.
As in how many items there will be in each in overall update notes. So for
Okay.
example, there was like 20 items that got changed in patch note in the most recent patch notes. So that will be 20 for that patch notes.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
That was a loud door slam. Yeah.
Oh god, this is going to be awful. Okay, so there are 24.
This is terrible.
Oh, by the way, I think they said something about how they're going to make patch notes in the future. Like, every month they're going to have big changes, and then like the 2 weeks in between they're going to have like littler changes. So I might factor that in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do some maths.
It's gonna be in the hundreds. Must be in the hundreds.
We need to factor in mid-season as well.
Oh god.
Okay, okay, I've got mine. I think. Yeah, I got mine. Take your time, but don't.
I'm gonna go with 150.
Ooh, I went with 160. I did go 150 there.
So it's basically if it's below or above, I guess. Ooh.
Sweet.
Yeah. I just went for 24 times 5 plus a bit.
Yes.
Is how I figured out mine.
Yeah, that's how I did it. So yeah, again, if you have any more season prediction questions that we could do for next time, we might add to this list if we get any more. And yeah, so I think that's it. Season 6 is looking to be a pretty good season. Might just be the best season.
The best
for Smite. We'll see. Thank you for sticking around for nearly 2.5 hours.
No one did.
No one did. No, you're all gone.
It's been good though. I'm looking forward to season 6. They were all surprisingly good changes.
They were good changes. There were less changes than I expected in terms of a season change, but also Smite's been in the best state it's been in a while, so it makes sense that they're trying to keep it.
Yeah. I'd say there was less groundbreaking changes.
Yeah.
Like when the Warriors change came up, I was like, here we fucking go. This is the good shit.
It's just HP.
But then that was the only change of that magnitude, and it was a bit like, okay.
Yeah. So again, do let us know anything. If you have any questions or anything, like Generadare did. You get your free ice cream. Hashtag SmiteCompod and tweet us at NumNetworkYT or just comment on the video. And of course, Generadare and Chase Griggs as well from earlier on. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with some stuff. We'll actually just be able to discuss Merlin, and
that's gonna be fun.
And so yeah, thank you very much. Although I feel like we should probably schedule it based on when they decide to do their patch notes. We like to do the podcast straight after, or the couple days after patch notes.
If they decide that they're going to do their patch notes, every Tuesday from now on, every other Tuesday starting next Tuesday, we might try and offset
they're Fridays,
podcast back.
Update notes for Fridays. So, exactly. We'll try and
that
get
was an example.
Yeah.
Don't pick the finicky bits of my example.
You're terrible. Right. Right, we need to get going. 2.5 hours, Christ. Okay, goodbye.
Let's keep going. We can get to the 2:30 mark. Let's go. We'll just sit here in silence for the next 8 minutes.
No. Oh my god. Right. I'm so glad you didn't edit these. Take care.
Bye.